Well, welcome back to the podcast. Man, I'd like to thank our sponsors today, Flint Farms. Talk to Chad over there. He can help you out with all your hay needs, your trucking needs. Got some squeeze work going on. What do you know about them guys, Brandon?
Chad, he's an up and comer. He's doing it real right. He's moving hay all over the valley. So look for Flint Farms.
I like it. How about our guest today, Chelsea Shaffer?
All the way in Colorado.
All the way in, flew in. We had Juan pick her up. That was important. We did like that. Cesar, what do you know about this lady?
Man, she's awesome. She's interviewed me at some of my biggest moments, and we're gonna have a good podcast talking about some good stuff today.
Cool. I gotta ask you a question. When you get those guys and they're in their biggest moments, guys like Cesar who take it to the highest, the high, and the lowest of the low, like how does that feel? Like, do you feel like, oh, I'm gonna go? No, I'm gonna go back.
Oh no, I think maybe 10 years ago, 13 years ago, maybe. But nowadays I'm so excited for them. Like, I am just as excited as they are, and it is like my wildest dreams to talk to them. And I don't know, like, I remember a long time ago we were told not to have favorites and not to celebrate, and I definitely do. Like, I am with them 100%.
Yeah, how could you not have favorites in this game? I mean, you watch a roping or a rodeo of anything, and I mean, everybody's got their favorites. I mean, it's just how it rolls. So I kind of jumped forward, but let's back up a little bit. Let's give your backstory, what you're all about, and
Sure.
all that good stuff.
Yeah, I am the editor of the Team Roping Journal. I have been since 2017 when we turned Spin to Win into the Team Roping Journal. But long before that, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Grew up, went to journalism school at Ohio University. I thought my degree is in journalism and African studies and African American studies and Swahili. And somehow, here I am.
Somehow that translated into team roping.
Somehow, like literally the least likely path to this career. I think if you have ever tracked anybody, there was no ag comm, nothing like that in my degree. I did all my internships in South Africa and worked for a horse vet in Egypt. And then I graduated during the recession, and there were no jobs in the big newspapers. There was only jobs in equine media, and I ran barrels in college or all through growing up. And
So hard work and dedication basically got you to where you're at.
yeah, and dating some terrible team ropers along the way.
Well, that probably helps as far as the story side goes, right?
I think I didn't know anything about team roping until college, and I met some team ropers. And
Yeah, if you watch some of the TikToks about these girls in Wickenburg dating the team ropers, they are hilarious. Have you seen some of those TikToks? They pull up in a Dodge pickup and throw a bunch of ropes in the back seat. Jump in. It's pretty funny. So when they switched over to Spin to Win over to the Team Roping Journal, walk us through that a little bit. Was that like a corporate? I mean, give us the highlights. Like, was that like a corporate big move, or somebody decided that, or how did that go?
Think about how it all happened. It was wild. I remember I had just had my daughter. She was 10 months old, and our CEO called me into a room with a couple of my bosses, and they sat me down and they said, "Hey, your boss just quit. We just bought the USTRC. We are going to merge Super Looper and Spin to Win, and you're going to create a new magazine, and it's going to be the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, the Bugler or something, whatever their magazine is. That's what they wanted me to create." But at the same time, they had shut down American Cowboy, which was also one of our magazines that I used to work for. And when they did that, that is when I kind of based the new magazine off of American Cowboy. If you ever look at like the two, I actually got the American Cowboy staff was who my staff ended up being, because my boss had quit. I didn't have an art director. The staff of Super Looper was gone. So it was just, I was the sole team roping representative on this whole staff. And I wasn't allowed to tell anybody. We knew it was going to happen, and I wasn't allowed to tell anybody or talk to any staff or make any plans. They said they didn't want it on computer screens, nothing. So I had like all of 1 month to panic about this, knowing that this was going to happen. And then like the day before the 4th of July run is when they told everybody. And it was like okay, so I have to go cover the 4th of July run like I usually do, and then I have exactly 3 weeks to create a brand new magazine. So that was crazy. As like the only full-time staffer and the only one who knew about team roping. Kendra, of course, was there, but she was contract. She's not like on staff technically and in the office. So it was an adventure.
So you got to create exactly how you wanted to? Did you have all the reins to it?
I was 29 and had worked there since I was 22. So really everybody still thought of me as like a kid at that point. I was very much still the young girl that they knew at 22. So no, I did not have all the reins. But I did, I said it was like the dream magazine because it got to be, we were going to invest more money in digital coverage so that I could do a better job on the digital side. And then we could spend a lot more time telling longer stories in the magazine. So, I mean, I did have freedom, but at the same time, I had to earn the right to kind of do what I want, I guess. And now it's definitely gotten to that point, though.
Yeah, and that has to be pretty tough, right? You start somewhere when you're 22 and everybody's looking at you. I mean, I still know guys that look at Brandon as a kid, or I'll go to a Napa and I'm not Brandon Shelton, I'm Rocky's son. And I'm like, man, I'm 45 years old. Like, these are my accounts. Like, I'm the one that gets to write the check. So, yeah, I could imagine that in that industry, it would be hard to come, because basically you worked your way up, but it's hard to see.
It was very hard, especially, I don't want to say this is very hard, but it's still constantly and I am told that sometimes I still talk like I'm in high school. Like, I don't have a mature broadcast voice like Pam Minnick or Amy Wilson or Katie Kaufman. I still sound like a kid sometimes, and I might not be as professional all the time as I should be at 35 years old. So I think I deserve a little bit of the crap that I get.
I think a lot of people not, that if you're too professional, I think there's kind of a balance there, you know what I mean? Like, you got to have some little flaws, like everybody knows something,
Yeah, I think it's relatable, right?
Exactly.
When you have some flaws, or, you're just, man, she sounds like you're just talking to somebody on tailgate of a pickup, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I certainly sound like that, yeah. So that's what we're shooting for, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, knock that out of the park.
Yeah.
Pam Minnick, how about Pam Minnick? I remember Pam Minnick when I was a kid watching all those videos, man. She was all over the place.
She's so cool. I was watching the Cowboy Channel the other day and I texted her because they had like the 19, I don't know what year, NFR, like this very old NFR on. And she was calling the play-by-play on the team roping. Like, that is rank. Like, there's, I wouldn't have the nerve to do that. And I could probably call the play-by-play sitting here talking to you guys, but not.
Yeah, that's when I thought she was pretty cool. When I always watched her on TV, and then I got to watch her rope one time. She actually ropes pretty dang good. So yeah, Pam, shout out to Pam.
Yeah, shout out to Pam Minnick. Yeah, we got a little spot here. If you want to come to Chelsea next time, we'll have Juan pick you up.
Yes, please. She's so cool. And I don't think enough people, I'm going to give a little bit more of a Pam Minnick plug here.
Yeah.
I don't think enough people realize what she's done to encourage young people like me and like Katie Kaufman. Like, she is our biggest cheerleader, and she will give us advice or support it. Like,
Well, I think she's pro rodeo Hall of Fame material. I mean, she hooked people. I mean, and if you look at any sport like rodeo's not just the Cowboys. Like, without you guys covering it and bringing in, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, guys like me and Brandon that want to rope, and we love watching rodeo and we support it. Like, we're a lot of the funding behind all, guys like us, and it's ladies like her that you can relate to, like you, we can relate to you, so we want to listen to you and stuff like that. I think a little more credit needs to be leaned that way.
thanks.
Yeah.
Definitely to Pam. Pam deserves all the credit.
So we touched a little bit, you have a daughter. Tell us a little bit about your family and where you live at and stuff.
Yeah, I'm from Fort Lupton, Colorado, or I live in Fort Lupton, Colorado. I've lived there for about 10 years. I've been in Colorado for 13 years. My husband is Tori. He has a fencing company now, but he circuit rodeo and made the circuit finals, all the amateur finals, but he's really just kind of into working now. And my daughter is 6. Her name's Elise, and she think she is the baddest Betty Barrel racer that there ever was. She's left-handed. She hates team roping because team roping is what makes mommy have to leave, and mommy does team roping all the time, and so she really hates it. She is not nice to Trevor and Miles. Like, it's embarrassing, actually, how mean she is to them. And I once told her, I was like, they call him the king of the cowboys. No, they don't. She is like completely irreverent to
That's
all
awesome.
of that.
I think that's great.
She hates team roping. So she's a barrel racer. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You want her to go on, and we've asked Cesar this about his boys, and I mean, obviously the good parent answers it. I'll do anything they want to do, and I think that's a great way to answer it and support them. I wanted my daughter to rodeo so bad when she was little. She ran barrels, and we won here and won there, and man, we had big trucks and trailers, and I was ready. We were gonna go take on the world, and then she comes home at 6 and says, "Dad, I kind of want to play soccer," and I was like, okay. So, I mean, you can't say no.
Cheaper, though.
Yeah, you don't want, and we went and played soccer, and she still plays soccer, but, is that something you want your daughter to do, or is it just kind of whatever she wants to do, you're going to roll with?
Yeah, I don't think I understood that answer until, recently, and I when she she didn't ride, she had Tonto the pony for a while, and we rode Tonto a lot, and then she got out of it for a couple years, and I wanted her to get back into it so bad. And now I'm like, it's okay. Either way, she loves gymnastics. She's really smart. Everybody says their kid's smart. My kid's really, really smart.
Yeah, my kid's a genius.
Yeah, she's brilliant. So she tricked me into downloading an $80 Spanish language game the other day. She was like, "Mom, put my password in," and I did. And then
Got him.
yeah, got me.
Got him.
She's working on her Spanish now, though.
What was her pony's name?
Tonto.
Why do kids' ponies have the greatest names? Like, shout out to the Usher family. We bought Coco. Coco was Hayden's first pony.
Ours is Danger.
See?
Yeah.
Like the coolest
Little
pony.
Michael just left and was Chico.
Chico, yeah.
It still is, right? Isn't Chico who he still rides,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was, you can see he's pretty close to Chico. When you bring up his horse boy, there's something lights up his eyes. Like when we asked you about your daughter, it was the same thing when Michael's sitting there. Well, it's Chico, he says. I
That
read
little
Chico.
part of his name's gonna have to drop here pretty quick. He's not little no more. He's
No.
a grown man.
He's tall. Is he taller than you?
Yeah, well, I know he's taller than his dad. He's same size at least. Maybe got me by a little bit for sure. He's a grown ass man, but he'd been that way since he was about 11. He's been pretty tall, big hands, and ready to do some healing. It's pretty awesome.
He
Watch our
joined the
kids.
Tolleson-Mack podcast club or team up with us. So
Team.
yeah, he's on it. So
Yeah, we just sent him to the BFI, so that was pretty cool. We enjoyed that because that's a good dude. I mean, I think he's going to be a great kid. He has ways to go with his interviews, but when I was sitting here talking to him, I had to remind myself, this is the same age as your daughter,
They all
14
do.
years old.
Yeah.
And you sit here and like Cesar said, he's a man. I mean, he's a big boy.
and him being able to come and do these podcasts and kind of getting groomed for it, like Cesar said, when he turns 18 and he's doing NFR, those he'll know exactly what to say and how to say it.
I think it was, so when we started the Team Roping Journal, I think we started it in July. In September, I flew down to Albuquerque to spend some time with the Gentrys and just kind of, I'd always known Denny and Connie, but really kind of get on the same page with them and figure out a game plan going forward because we were going to be working way closer with them now that we had the USTRC and the World Series. And I remember when Denny was showing me how global handicaps worked. Well, it was Triad at the time, or some variation. It's had a few names over the years. He pulled up Blow Mike as an example and was like, "This is a story you need to do." So it was 2017, right? That he was already so high. That was the first year we interviewed him for a story, and it was he's been working at this interview thing a long time, and we've been putting the pressure on him a very long time. How tough must that be?
That's what we're
My
saying.
favorite thing is he's humble. He feels that way too. Like he'll win first and second and third and just smile and walk out of the room real happy about it. Like this is kind of what he does,
He's the guy that we need the dash cam for. You know what I mean? Because you gotta know, you gotta wonder how he is. Your daughter probably acts differently around you. Your kids act differently. So I wonder how it is when he drives out of here in the truck with his dad. Does he lean over there like, "Oh, that's cool," Because he is super humble and that's pretty admirable these days in this day and age, I think.
Well, everything's changed, right? Since Dakota was so high when he was 16, right?
Yeah.
Like how much pressure, but still, I think the first time Dakota ever got interviewed was like when I interviewed him when he was 20 or something. So Little Mike's had way more practice already than Dakota.
They're getting groomed nowadays. I think the younger guys that are, by the time they're 18 years old, they're ready to do interviews and sign autographs and kind of hang out. Peyton Bray's a good example for that. Like he's done,
for sure.
done good for that kind of younger generation of ropers.
Well, I think both you guys can speak on both sides of this. Is that as important to these guys as, going after sponsors and, doing all these other things? Obviously, roping and catching is the most important thing. We all know that. But there's so many more aspects to the game that, it seems like that's a big part of it. Guys, like us, we're going to sponsor Michael Camelot because he's from here and we really, really like him. But, if you get a kid out there that every time you open your Facebook page, he's on there blasting your company name, or he's wearing your shirt in Rocky Point at a party, it doesn't matter, like anywhere. So you guys speak on that a little bit. Is that really where these guys need to start putting a little bit of focus on that?
I think that sponsorship is huge nowadays in the rodeo game. And so if a young guy can learn how to promote himself, it's going to set yourself up for future stuff. It's pretty expensive. I got a good friend, Jackson Tucker. I got him on Snapchat, and he sent a picture of it. It was $7.99 for diesel over there. So it's going to take a little bit of help for diesel sponsors to get up and down the road, and entry fees and stuff. It's not cheap when you're going jackpotting and going rodeo at the same time. So, Chelsea, what do you?
Yeah, I could write a book on this one,
Yeah.
I think there are so many wrong ways, though, to do it. I remember once I quoted Trevor and saying, like, people think you should be posting this and posting that, when you should be roping this and roping that, and really, like, let your roping speak for itself, which that's part of it. But Trevor's had to learn in the last 5 years that isn't all of it either. He's had to get better about it. But there's so many disingenuous ways to promote people on social media, like by tagging your sponsors at the bottom of the post. Like, yeah, you got to do that, but like that isn't actually giving them much. It's not doing much for them. You have to actually say, like, the pictures of you pulling out your venoms out of your rope bag and saying, like, hey, it's muddy here today, like this rope, I'm gonna grab I'm terrible with it. I don't actually rope a hard medium today. Like, like whatever.
All right.
Yeah, it's like, it's muddy here today, I'm going to grab this hard medium venom. And like those posts that are actually intentional, that are actually showing how you use the product, are really important. So just doing social media to do social media, or promoting your sponsors for the sake of promoting your sponsors, isn't really doing much, because everybody has Facebook now and everybody can do that. Like, you have to
a little more effort.
Yeah.
And like the commercial you made, that prime example, a little, like a little bit more time, I think would go a lot farther with these sponsors. They would, like that more than just that little hashtag at the bottom, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And like, Resist All does such a good job of like the we live it every day mantra, like really actually embodying the brand's values is important. Yeah. And it's not something that just because you sign on the dotted line and get a sponsorship contract that you're doing. So making sure that you align with those brand values. And you can see it, like, and not like the Cactus guys, like there are very unique things about Cactus guys, and there are very unique things about Fastback guys. And Classic, like, you can look at a line of people and pick out who's the Classic guy. Like, there's brand values and it matters. And
yeah, we've really learned just recently, maybe in the last month, we hired a lady to just run our social media, Karen Correa. Shout out to Goo. She's our social media lady for Cattleman's Processing. But we've seen our page likes double, and we're getting so many more people calling us, and it's because what Brandon said, she makes little videos. It's not just Cattleman's Processing getting shared to your page or whatever, and people just scroll by it. But it's little videos, almost tidbit commercials and things like that. Yeah. So what do you think some of these guys, would it be worth them taking the time and investing in somebody to run the social media and things like that?
Yeah, you can, Chelsea, you can chime in on this, but I'm the worst at it. I call it flexing sometimes. You know what I mean? Them guys get on social media like, look how cool I am. I never was that way. I'm the same way. I'm humble about it. I don't, just kind of want to show what I can do, but I just think that just feel like it's changed a lot nowadays, especially. So what do you think about?
I think your social media has to add value to your audience. And that might look like creating content that they want to see. Like, I mean, Peyton Bray could like look in the mirror and smile in his TikToks, and the girls would love it. That would create value to the younger girls that like Peyton Bray. For the record.
For the record.
I just recognized that the young girls like Peyton Bray. I didn't know that actually until I hired young girls, and they were like, "Why aren't you making TikToks about Peyton Bray?" I was like, "Huh?" I'm like, have you seen his, like, the millions of people that follow that hashtag Peyton Bray? No, I didn't. But anyways, I think your social media has to add value. And I think just posting for the sake of posting isn't going to get you anywhere. And there are a lot of girls who run people's social media. And I mean, I have like 15 guys' social media is probably attached to my Facebook account because over the years, somebody's asked me to help them, and I'm not the best. I'm honestly not the best. I'm like, it has to be your full-time job to Facebook post for people.
I agree with that. That is a full-time job.
It is a full-time job. Like, and you have to max out. Like, I have way too many guys that for me to do any of them justice on their Facebook pages, and Breakaway Ropers too. I have them too. But like, there are girls who have like started agencies, but you can almost kind of tell that all their stuff looks the same too. But it's still better than doing nothing. But like, I don't want to give any examples because I'll say it. Unique. Yeah, it doesn't look unique, and it doesn't look like you did it on purpose, but it still looks professional, which is better than not doing it at all or doing a really bad job at it.
Yeah, Crystal Mead, she does mine. She's from Canada, but I've gone to do some roping clinics and stuff and explain some things. That's kind of what I've been doing here lately. Mm-hmm. And I think that's helped me out a lot because I don't like posting anything on social media. I don't really like. I grew up, with a pager and not any cell phones or anything like that, and just social media has kind of always been weird to me. But it helps out a lot. I know that, and just it helps the sponsors out a lot, and just have somebody that kind of understands and knows, and she kind of knows how I talk and how I think and stuff. So when I ask her to post something, it's usually spot on.
Yeah. So is that how it works? You call her and ask her, tell her, hey, I'm going to Louisiana, put on the pool.
Yeah, it's been great because I can have her say I'm going to go to Louisiana or Arkansas or somewhere, and she can post how many students I'm going to have and the address, and it makes a real professional looking flyer. Mm-hmm. And I try to do it. It's not professional at all. It's like I just get more frustrated at it. Like me, I just grew up just wanting to kind of halfway rope, and that's all I focused on. My mind's real weird about.
Like, it says halfways.
Yeah, I got ADD, so like when I gotta really focus on just roping. If I'm gonna rope that day, or if I'm gonna do social media, I'm gonna do social media all day. I'm not gonna do anything else. I'm just kind of got a weird mind, but yeah, I think it really helps out to have somebody take care of your social media stuff if you're professional and wanting to do it right, get sponsors and stuff, and so.
Yeah, it sounds like, and I mean, if you use like NASCAR, PBR, UFC, any of these guys as a playbook, I mean, that's what they do. I mean, you watch it, and they have awesome social media people, and the advertising is out of this world. I mean, if you look at the UFC, any place in that ring that is possible to put a sticker for somebody, there's one on there, and it just makes you think, like, what's Prime? What's Prime? So then you Google Prime. Mm-hmm. Once you Google Prime, then it's coming up on your Facebook for the next 3 days until you finally just stop and buy one to taste it because you got to figure it out. So, yeah, I think, and guys like Michael Camelot, I think it'll help him having guys like you that say, hey man, this is part of the game. You start interviewing with us. By the time you get to Joe B when you're 18, you're gonna be rolling.
So much of it is like, you scratch my back. Like, whatever that saying is terrible.
You scratch
lots of scratching.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it weird because it could get weird. So you know what I mean.
Scratching on.
But so much of it is that, and I think that's because I know how well that stuff converts. Like when we started roping.com, I could see when Trevor or Patrick shared something on their Facebook pages, I could watch the dollar figures rise. And you can directly track those conversions. So it's of my interest, or the younger girls who work for me, to help the guys out to make sure their social medias are good. And it's in both of our best interests. So it's always kind of been like that, especially back in 2011 when this young kid named Paul Eves was like, hey, can you set up a Facebook page for me? I have some sponsors who wanted me to have a Facebook page. And I'm like, sure, Paul. And I still have it. I still have it on my phone. I don't, his wife, like, luckily he's like evolved in life since then, and I just see it sometimes. But my favorite was when Tyler Wade got into a donkey PETA issue situation.
Oh, we gotta talk about that. We can't just, that is something, I mean, the mule train would be happy to hear that. We can't.
For anybody that don't know Tyler Wade, he's really comical. Could be a comedian. He's one of the funniest guys in the rodeo trail.
I think he's the funniest.
Him and Coleman Proctor are pretty fun.
And very different though, funny.
Yeah,
like they're
yeah.
both funny, but
Yeah.
very different. And I had set Tyler's Facebook page up, and also Tyler is a trader extraordinaire, like the king. Like if he will go to the sale barn one day.
Terrell, Texas.
Tyler, Texas. Tyler Wayne, Terrell, Texas. And he bought a batch of mini donkeys.
Oh, yeah.
And then they had a donkey roping.
Oh,
Because once you buy your batch of mini donkeys, it's not good enough just to resell them. You also have to make like $50 a run off spending the donkey roping. And
we gotta cheapen them back.
That's one of my favorite things about Texas. You know, they'll have donkey ropings out there.
yes,
Yeah, you gotta cheapen them donkeys back, because you may have paid too much
yes,
for them.
yes. And then he like had posted something about like, rescue these donkeys for however much. I don't know, maybe not rescue, maybe just buy these donkeys that I rescued at the sale. Not on his professional Facebook page, I don't think. But anyways, somehow the donkey rescue that like ended up with these donkeys. Like, sorry Tyler, he's gonna be so mad
That's
at me.
awesome.
But like somehow the donkey rescue that ended up with these donkeys, which were completely fine.
Yeah.
They were fine donkeys. Nothing had happened to them.
Just
They just
normal,
led better. They led way
They
better.
led great. Yes.
normal, everyday donkeys.
Got them gentle. The donkey, they like went after him pretty aggressively, and they found his fan page, and like that emergency, Chelsea, please disable my fan page. They were
So now he goes as T Wade.
yes.
Two-way.
Two-way roping.
So do you ever have to make that call? Like, do you ever see something on social media and have to call those guys and like, boys,
Think about it.
No. No, man, they can suffer their own consequences.
You just let
They're
them roll.
grown. Yeah,
Just
they're
let 'em
grown.
roll.
Yeah.
any publicity is good publicity?
No, but it's their doing. No, my name isn't on any other pages. So
You don't try to protect them?
I've protected them enough over the years that like if they're dumb enough to post it on their own Facebook, that's not where my job in the protection needs to be.
So where does the donkey post rate on your dumbest things to post on your Facebook? It's got to be up there.
That's up there. That's up there. But I mean, truth be told, who would have thought PETA would have found the donkeys?
Hey.
You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, donkeys are awesome. I have 3 at my house, and they're really, really good to train the horses. Young horses that are like bred too hot on cattle, like cutting horse and stuff. You can show them a lot of cool stuff on a donkey, and they kind of have fun with it and play with them a little bit. And then you go to rope cattle on it, they kind of have an idea what we're doing now. But they're really good training tools, and I've always had donkeys ever since I was a kid, so I love them. So
speaking of training tools, the dumbest thing I ever posted on social media, which I didn't think was dumb at the time, and it was
course not.
exactly the same week we shut down Spin to Win and start. I will always remember this because the CEO used this as an example of how I was going to have to grow as a human being, to grow as a professional. Is that Driggers and Junior were at Jet Johnson's over the 4th of July.
Buffalo.
And I posted the video of them roping the buffalo.
I gotta stop this story for just a second. It was one of the coolest runs you've ever seen.
It was.
Even a live cattle like Driggers hit the barrier really nice and like sent it out there like he does, really pretty head loop. It went slick 2 horns, the buffalo hit real pretty. Junior healed him really fast, and like it was done as fast as it happened. It was real simple and a cool run.
And nobody will ever see it again.
Okay, go ahead. That's one of the
It's
coolest
gone.
things ever.
It's gone because I remember standing on my, like, I didn't think anything of it. Like, I had got a Snapchat of it or something, and I saw it I was standing on my back deck, barbecuing on the 4th of July or something.
Just
and
living your best life.
Just, yeah, like, but I'm so ADD, like, the ultimate ADD. And so I will just be, like, flipping burgers and looking at my phone and posting on Facebook. And I see this, I see the video on TikTok, not TikTok, Snapchat, text Triggers or Junior, I don't remember which one sent it to me, and was like, hey, send me that run. Posted it, like, put my phone away, went on my merry way.
Go on to cooking burgers.
Oh man, the next morning I woke up with all of the Native American tribes were coming after us. All of the animal rights organizations, my email was flooded to the point where it shut my inbox down. Like, oh God, it was a really cool run that we'll never see again.
It was so
That would
awesome.
be cool. I mean, look at this.
It was like 2 quotes
This guy's seen
back.
how many team roping runs.
Have you ever seen buffalo run too? Kind of how their horns, like
Yes.
it was slick horns, it just like snapped
He
on there so
slick-horned a
perfect.
buffalo?
Like that's
Yes.
it was the coolest run. And then Junior got to the end of it. He kind of hit a little wild, and Junior had a heel loop down there ready to heal him. And after the run, they didn't stretch him out really hard or nothing. And then Buffalo just runs off, no big deal. Like they've seen in the
Just right to the ship.
nothing happened to him, like no big deal. Just kind of but they got in big trouble for that. I was like,
Didn't-
yeah. So ever since then, I kind of learned my lesson on donkeys too. If I'm roping a donkey, I pet it afterwards and tell them like, this donkey's loved, it's fat, it's healthy, it's
But-
happy.
For the record, Big Gay can ride a buffalo.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was just
Anytime.
Hey, he
I
it was a
recognize
cool ride.
it was a really cool ride, but I was like, oh, Derek can get away with
Derek
anything. Like,
Yeah, the thing is though, like when we were rodeoing, and at the NFR, Big A had an eagle feather, a bald eagle feather in his cowboy hat, and birds of, I think, Friends of Feather program, they cornered him and they were gonna fine him, and like he was like gonna get in trouble for this, and they made him show his papers, his Native American papers, like they.
Wow.
And then the next thing you know is little James, he ain't little no more, but in the stands he had a big uniform the next night, and there and he cheering his uncle on. It was pretty
That's
awesome.
cool.
But yeah, you got to be careful with some of the
which I am
the organizations.
fully not here for cultural appropriation. Like I stand behind that all makes great sense to me. I just was kind of bummed out that I had to take the Buffalo video down because it
Yeah, I don't understand it.
millions of views. It was
I'm confused by it. I don't understand why you'd have to take it down. Especially now that I know he roped them slick horns. I'm like, roping around the horns around feet.
I mean,
It
it's
was,
like
it was so cool.
like some of them, smaller steers, and compared to a buffalo taking it, I'm pretty sure a buffalo's pretty tough compared to a lot of steers have been roped.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and like Judd had been cutting the crap out of that buffalo, and like he'd had harder days
For sure.
running more back and forth.
Yeah, that's the cutters use them a lot.
Yeah.
It makes the horse pay more attention.
So when you were talking about Derek maybe getting fined for that feather, I mean they came and cornered him. And
Yeah,
talked to him.
yeah,
was
that's
a real deal, huh?
they have a, they give you a whole book that seems like a bunch of papers about what not to do, and the Friends of a Feather had a whole thing about not having any feathers, and I grew up watching Lane Frost in 8 Seconds and stuff, wanting to be a bull rider, and you gotta have feather in your hat, you want to be a bull rider, so I translated that in my team roping, had feathers, so I always had to take my feathers out when I went to the finals, 'cause just a Mexican.
This JB a couple years ago when JB made the finals, not this past year but the year before, I remember him coming and getting Derek because they want JB's was given to him by a tribe in the Northwest, I think. And I don't think he ever took his out. Did he have it on all 10 rounds?
He's
But I
a
think
real
he
cowboy,
took
that guy
it
ain't gonna
by.
take his
Yeah.
feather
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if he didn't take it.
Yeah.
Rock star, that guy.
Yeah, he is a.
Yeah, that dude's a cowboy through and through.
Yeah.
What do you think about the fine situation at the NFR getting? I mean,
I once tweeted the fine list. This was before like everybody else figured out that, because I think this year like people saw the fine list like when Clay Smith got that fine or whatever. But years ago I tweeted the fine list and got in so much trouble.
I was getting it from Timber Toughness. He was sending it to us.
Well,
so I
like,
could see the fine.
we're in a tricky position because they could, like, I'm there with 4 or 5 sponsors per brand, you know, that we're working for 3 brands, 4 or 5 sponsors with lots of revenue attached to me being able to be in the press room and do a good job. So you have to follow the PRCA's rules about all that stuff to get your job done, just like you guys have to follow their rules. It's tough. It's tricky.
Yeah, like the fines are really, really tough. You gotta, I mean, you're skating on thin ice. One of the fines you can get over there in the team roughing is if your steer ain't standing straight, you got 30 seconds in the box. I don't care how bad your steer's fighting or whatever, you're gonna get a fine. I mean, like I know some of the guys that like to make sure their steer's heads are straight. They might get fined every night. A couple of the headers, they spend 30 seconds, all of it in the box. It's like, but what happens to the steering straight? You know, it's not our fault. It's gotta. I feel like the new rule coming in, the instant replay. I really like that rule. I've been waiting for that rule to come in because I've had a few instances with crossfire shots and just felt like bad calls, and so I feel like it'd be nice to have an instant replay so the judge can look at it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so first of all, I think rodeo needs more aggressive factual covering of what's happening, more aggressive factual storytelling of what's going on. So I could not get the PRCA to tell me what they were debating with instant replay, what research they had done on what it was going to cost. I was frustrated, to be very honest. And I get it. There's lots of red tape, lots of stuff they have to go through. So I called, we have a streaming company within the Equine Network. So I called Jeremy Olson, who runs Equine Promotions, which is the streaming company that we use that does the Lone Star Shootout, that does the timed event, does the AQHA World Show, the NRCHA, anyways, all the alphabets of the horse industry, and asked them what it costs. And there are going to be varying costs, like from $2,500 for a weekend to you could be $100,000 for a weekend if you do it right. So I get that they have to be intentional about it, but even Jeremy's point was like, one camera is better than no cameras, which is what we have now. And so I think it is complicated to have instant replay, but not complicated beyond the point of figuring it out. And I think, gosh, it's like that with a lot of things, and I'm not gonna like stick my foot in my mouth, but like with the breakaway, when they say we can't have the breakaway at the national finals, can't you? Like, really?
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Like,
I think that's ridiculous.
You can't? I think you can.
Yeah.
You don't have, if you set a committee aside, those committees go to all the wealthy ladies in Oklahoma, all the oil field wives, and find $1.1 million and tell the girls, well, hey, we don't have stalls for you, but if you haul your horses in, you can compete. Like,
they're on it.
I think we figured it out. We solved the world's problems. I know Jimmy Monroe's probably like, Chelsea, shut up. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. But I think it's like that with instant replay. Like, is there the will? Because I think if there is the will, and when we sell the instant replay on a live stream, we often put a sponsor. It's like the Fastback Ropes instant replay cam. That's more real estate that you can sell for your sponsorship coordinator, and your sponsorship coordinator can have a better package to sell. So for me, who doesn't sell and who does not judge rodeos, did you see Sherwood's suggestion that like we should just have champs sitting at home and like, did you see that?
No.
It was the best.
I agree.
He's like, let's just have champs sitting at home. He knows that he's on call for instant replay from 7 to 8 when San Angelo's going on, and instant replay. Champ's watching the Cowboy Channel, and he's already instant replayed it by the time somebody calls. Like, I'm not saying. And when I text Jeff, I was like, "Hey, did you see the article that you're the answer to instant replay?" He said, "Haha," and then a little bit later, he was like, "Oh my God, you were right! Like you weren't kidding." I was like, "No, I wasn't."
Have you guys heard anything of like their approach to it? I mean, is every run, or could you challenge it, or like in the bull riding, you can throw your hit the button in the PBR, or throw a flag.
It's going to be similar to that. I've heard that it's 500 to challenge, and if you win the challenge, you don't have to pay nothing.
Right.
But if you lose a challenge, you got to pay 500. So
And
I mean,
it's-
I think that's a good deal. We need to get the PRCA needs to grow a little bit, because I got kids in the junior rodeos, and one of them wants to be world champion. So in 10 years, or like I want to see rodeo be more mainstream, and kind of be, the PBR did a great job with it, but I think PRCA can go right there with them if we just followed along with some of the stuff that they did.
I think one thing that the PRCA should look at is, did you guys see that bulldogger get hung up the other night? Like he jumped
Whoa.
I
this.
saw the photos, but I
Did
never
you?
saw the video.
Wow.
So if you look at the photo in the background, he's hung up and he's on the ground. So this has been going on for a little bit, and the flagger's standing there like this. Flagger's still, I mean, because it's human error, right? So I mean, if that picture right there doesn't prove to you that maybe we need a little video footage of what really happened, because if this can happen to this guy and he's just holding the flag watching, I mean, Junior rolls around there and ropes one over his back. That guy, it's human error. The guy, whoa, did you see? Oh, and then drops
They'll call
the
you out
flag.
for crossfire if you're worse. It's like, yeah, human error happens. I
Yeah.
understand, it's like in every game, but I'm very glad that this changed into that, because the crossfire rule for team ropers, I don't know if you want to get into it, but like I know it's been an issue, and that's one of my favorite things with the instant replay, that we can, because it's so frustrating for a healer to walk out of the arena feeling like you didn't crossfire and you don't have no voice. Like if you say anything to the flagger, you're getting fined, and every word they can kind of add $250 onto every word. So next thing you know, you're up in the thousands of dollars. You're just trying to have a conversation with guys like, hey, what did you see? That way I don't do it tomorrow at the next rodeo I go to. And like anytime I face you, I go to rodeo and I see you flagging over there, I don't have to, I know that I need to go one more hop. Like, what did you see? And you'll get flagged for that, or fined for that.
Is that how calmly you used to say it?
No, I kind of,
yeah.
Coulter was very, very good with me, and he told me like the worst thing to do is just go argue with him, because we're going to see him next week, and he's going to hold a flag on us, and so just put your head down, walk out of the arena, and take it like a man, because you're going to take the same shot tomorrow, and they're going to give you the shot tomorrow. So it's frustrating at a big rodeo, or like 2,000, 10,000, whatever, that you lose that weekend. That could be. You talked about Dakota Kircheslager before. I've seen him make the finals with $6. He beat Colin Von Ong out one year with $6.
Wow.
So it's like I said, every dollar counts in the PRCA. So if you get called out for crossfire, it's like, man, could that have been the one that caused me to make the finals? And so like, I like the instant replay rule for that, but like the crossfire rule, like I want to talk to you about that, because that's been a hot issue with the team rope in the last few years, especially here as of late.
People are so passionate about it too, which is great. I can, there are things I can speak to and things that I can't. I will say that though I cannot repeat Denny's explanation of why the crossfire rule to Denny Gentry, the crossfire is a non-issue. Like he has the clearest explanation of like this as long as you have pictures of a couple different frames, like he can explain it. And he even says like, you don't even need instant replay. You just need a couple pictures and I can show you exactly where it is. I can't look and see it like that. But I do know that the conversation around it, those types of conversations with the Cowboy Channel, with people seeing it all the time, and with then us furthering that conversation in the online space and in print, that will push rodeo forward in having those conversations, because forever it would just happen in Ellensburg or Salinas, or happen in Salinas too sometimes, but like it would happen places, but it wouldn't be as nobody saw it, or we would just hear about it through the grapevine or whatever. Now that people are seeing it, though, just people having conversations about rodeo in general is awesome, right? Like whether or not they're mad at the PRCA or they're not mad, like, it used to be that the only thing you could fight about was if the Steelers, like, the Immaculate Reception, whether or not that was real or not, whether Franco actually got the ball.
If he got both feet down.
Yes, because that was the only thing you could see. But how cool is it that everybody is arguing about that kind of thing in rodeo right now?
So do you see that, like, everybody's arguing about that thing in rodeo? Everybody's getting to watch it. They're talking about it everywhere. Do you see that helping the sport? Even though it's hurting these guys, obviously, on the road, but is it helping the sport grow?
I think it's applying pressure that I couldn't have done on my own, or y'all couldn't have done on your own before. Like, you can only stick your head in the sand on issues for so long when the whole world can see it. So I'm not saying I'm not making that as a commentary, but more of just like an objective fact. Like, anytime there's an issue that is so clearly brought to light and talked about, it has to be addressed at some point. Like, we just saw the board, the Driggers is now the event rep instead of Sherwood, which I think they both probably have a lot of similar opinions on that, but like, there will just be change that keeps pushing forward.
Right, yeah, Driggers is the younger generation, both world champions, and I feel like that's just going to help out, because I feel like he's got his ideas he wants to throw out there a little bit, and I'm all for it, because it's the future is. Like I said, my kids, or maybe if they want to go rodeo, I want it to be a spot where they can go compete and have fun and maybe make a little money, make a living doing it. Because I tell kids at the clinic and stuff, there's nothing more fun than making a living with your rope, traveling around and roping, and they pay you for it. It's pretty fun.
And I think I'm a huge Matt Sherwood fan, and he was a great event rep. Like, we talked all the time. He was very candid and clear. It's not that change. It's just that, like, somebody who's a world champ who's on top of the world right now, Caleb Driggers, has everything going for him. He stepped in and was like, hey, I think I can make a difference here. And the fact that he's going to try to do that, and Driggers is no martyr. Like, he's not giving up anything to do this, but like, the fact that he is making a change in something or wanting to make a change and wanting to represent the rest of the team reppers is something that 10 years ago, if I'd ever thought Driggers would do something like that, I wouldn't have.
No, yeah. He's like the Trump for team reppers and rodeos.
What would be his duties? Like, as the event rep, what does he do? Because it is fresh blood coming in and younger blood coming in. What's kind of his duties?
If you have any issues in the team roping with steers, or say you got called up for a crossfire, Sherwood was the guy to call, and like, Driggers is gonna kind of have to have his phone ready and accept any kind of phone calls. It's just part of it, and sorting steers out, how many steers you need for this rodeo, if you want one for everybody, how long the score is, and just kind of you set stuff up for the rodeo guys there.
The interview you had with Matt, and when you're talking about how much they listen to you, and he said about half the time. That's going to be pretty tough too. You put all your 2 cents in and see much getting back. That'd be frustrating, I can see.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I think this morning Driggers is funny because he likes to write out his answers, which is, he's completely unique in that sense. Like, anytime I ask him anything, he makes my job easier than anybody else, because I don't have to call and like BS with Driggers. I'm like, hey, I'm doing a story on this. Here are 5 questions. And then within 15 minutes, I have 5 very thoughtful answers back. So this morning I was writing an article with just a quick Q&A with Driggers about what his plans are as the event rep. And I went to the PRCA's rule book and typed in event rep in the search, find the search function. And event rep has 23 mentions in the PRCA rule book, which is like 23 different, as I scan through it, responsibilities that they will have to be involved with, and lots of different, just kind of giving their okays for things. So I know, I was trying to remember, it was Garrett for a long time, and Garrett was very good at being clear, and it was Manny, and Manny was very good. Like, these guys have all been great, and they're not always in the majority as far as what kind of calls that they make. I think every one of the event reps has been good. So,
We touched on it a little bit, but I'd like to go back and talk about Breakaway. I mean, Breakaway is such a huge, cool, fast, I mean, everybody wants to watch it kind of sport. Do you guys see it eventually making its way in the NFR, or is it gonna just be a uphill battle?
Surely, I would think it has to. I mean, I think it's a cool game. I honestly, it's the crowd favorite, right? I mean, barrel racing was a cool crowd favorite for the ladies, but I mean, the calf, they ride really pretty horses, and they run down there, and the horse stops real pretty, and it breaks away, and calf runs to the other end just as happy as can be, you know. So I think it's a cool event. It just brings more women to the sport. I think it should be in the NFR, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you figure there's 7 events at the NFR, I think, that are dedicated to men. My math is bad, but like, you know, I have to count on my fingers. And there's only 1 in the barrel race. I mean, of course, women can compete if they want to and the other things, but specifically designed for women and women in Western sports, there's just the barrel racing. So I think in 2024, when the contract is up, and I think it'll be a bargaining chip for where the NFR ends up after the Las Vegas contract is up, because you know, maybe Fort Worth is going to say, hey, we'll put up $2 million for the ladies, you know, for the Breakaway Rovers. You know, I think that'll be a bargaining chip. But I think there's the will. I think right now there's just the, like, it's
Still kind of new, I think that's.
It is, and I think the numbers, we see great numbers at breakaways, at the rodeos and all kinds of things. But like the Riata Buckle, the Ruby Buckle, the numbers really aren't there yet as far as the masses. It's a much smaller demographic, but still a active demographic. They'll spend more money than the barrel racers, for example. The barrel racers don't spend a lot to enter, and they spend a lot to take care of their horses or on their new bit that's gonna keep them from ducking the second barrel or whatever. But I'm guilty, I'm a barrel racer. But like, the Breakaway Rovers will spend the money, so it's a good market. I think they'll be there.
You think so? It'll happen, huh? You touched on this too. Texas versus Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I went to both of them, and Vegas is Vegas. I hate to say it, but Texas is Texas. Don't get me wrong, but
did you go to Texas?
I didn't get to go to Texas.
I mean, I know. Yeah, I don't know if you got to go for sponsors or anything.
No, but like Vegas, you're right. It's got like its own aura about it. Like you walk around, you feel like a rock star. Like just Tolleson-Mack, it's got so much history. But it would be cool to rep at Arlington too. It's just they're both really cool. But you walk around over there in Vegas like you're a rock star.
And Vegas is kind of so compact. It doesn't seem compact, but it's so compact. You know, the Tolleson-Mack there is so compact, and then you're walking around these places and you're just standing in line, and the guy next to you getting a Dr. Pepper's Tough Cooper, you know, I mean, because like you guys are just everywhere there. You know,
signing autographs. You're all the way back to your truck. You're signing autographs.
All the way and everywhere. And Texas to me seemed it was huge, and that was cool, right? The arena was big. That was neat. But it was just too spread out. Like it seemed cooler. It seemed more rodeo being a little tighter like that. I don't know. What do you guys think about Texas?
I mean, it was COVID, so it was so different. Like I feel like to make a generalization, like if it was in the Dickie Stadium, you know, or something, it might be different. But I got COVID. I was so sick.
I know all about that.
So miserable during NFR, which I didn't. I got it. I realized I got it like the last day, but it was too late at that point. But I liked the freedom we had. There was like 3 journalists there. Like nobody was there. Nobody was going to sacrifice themselves to go cover the NFR. So other than the Cowboy Channel people, there was hardly anybody in the press box at least from traditional magazines that we see at the regular NFR. So we had lots of freedom. You know, at the Tolleson-Mack, like, if you walk on the wrong side of the Jersey barrier there, that concrete barrier, you're fine. Like, I mean, it's bad. Not bad. It's just tricky to get around.
You gotta follow the rules.
You've got to follow the rules. You have to have the right number on your badge. It wasn't like that in Arlington because they didn't really have. I don't know. I don't know if they didn't have the time to prepare or they just weren't really worried about the 5 of us that were there. Like they were not. Yeah, they weren't concerned. So it was more laid back in Arlington for us. And it was way less work because we didn't have the World Series finale going on, so I was not nearly as busy as I usually am.
And that's the other thing too. That probably packs Vegas out, right? The World Series finale going at the same time as the NFR, and then Dana White will throw a UFC fight in there on the same weekend, or they'll have one of those big boxing things going on. I don't know. Vegas is just Vegas to me. You know?
The year Sid and Jenny won the world, I remember we were at the bar celebrating with him, and then the Conor McGregor had also won like some sort of fight right there, and there's like the Native Americans and the Irish like all converging at this one bar at the MGM. I was like, oh boy, this is a lot.
That's awesome.
You're like, I should probably take myself out of here.
That's awesome.
You've seen that coming, huh?
It was like that was a weird juxtaposition, that's for sure.
Who's the next Native guy coming up, you think?
Man,
They produce some ropers up there.
JP, you know, little James, they call him. He ropes really good. It's Derek's nephew.
Oh, okay.
And he's, I mean, got a style just like Derek. Looks just a lot like him when he ropes. So I think that kid ropes really good. And there's some brothers out here, the Ben brothers.
Wawa.
I like Wawa Ben a lot. He
say
impressed me because he put it on a bull the other day at high school rodeo. This kid spurred one now, and then he'll get on his head horse and he'll turn one back right out of the gates. It's pretty neat to see that kind of cowboy kind of come up. Just there's some ropers in Arizona. I'm looking forward to the future.
Yeah, there's some guys coming up. Do you see a lot of guys working both sides of the arena at them junior rodeos? Or like it used to be, there was a bunch of guys that did that.
They got saddle bronc riding, which is they ride Holstein cows. And you'll see like the Todd boys and a whole bunch of the kids, they all enter that. And
They just think that's
fun.
fun.
It's just cowboy stuff, right? And they rope and stuff, and they get bucked off hard. And it's it's just cool to see just the Arizona Cowboys and the future of the game looks bright out here. So
Yeah. You thinking it looks pretty bright in Arizona? How's our future look over here?
I think
We're pretty partial to Arizona on this podcast. So.
And I think more and more is I mean, obviously that's not any news, but like it's growing so fast. What everything that ties down to Wickenburg and beyond, and how it's spread out. Rick Montero and I were talking about that. He said somebody that's like an ag economics major should really do their thesis or their PhD on like what the economic impact of
Ty Yost is.
yes,
We talked about that on another podcast, that Wickenburg should just give him the key
yes.
and just say, hey, anything you want to do, let us know, and we're behind it.
Do you think you're gonna get Ty on this podcast?
I think so. We process cattle for him.
Okay, I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, we process
He's hard.
cattle for him.
he's a tough guy to get on podcast.
He's very Ty.
Man.
I work for Ty Yost, and I can't get Ty on my podcast.
I don't know. I like to stay positive and hope that I can. But
Stack of hay does wonders.
some hay, maybe some loads of hay, and maybe I wait till we got some of his cattle and then start calling him.
So they're good ribeye steaks.
We'll get some leverage going. Yeah.
Capital Farms.
Yeah, Capital Farms. Yeah, they do have great. They feed at a place down by Red Rock. They feed at Red Rock Feeders. A guy named Dave feeds there, and man, they do a great job.
You should have a Capital Farms hat up here. You should talk to Ty about that.
As soon as Ty comes on the podcast,
Talk
we'll
to
be
you about
more
it.
than happy to have a Capital Farms hat up here.
Good luck. He always tells me I stutter. I can't be on a podcast. I stutter.
I don't know. I've only ever talked to him. I've talked to him on the phone 1,000 times. I think for a total in 1,000 times 4 minutes, maybe because it's yep, works good. Boom. I think he gets off the phone faster than Brandon does.
He loves podcasts though. He'll actually call me for podcast recommendations when he's driving between Montana and Arizona. So
That guy has done a lot, and I mean downtown. I mean all them guys up there. They do a great job, and I can't say that Wickenburg's not really working with them, but I feel like they could maybe do a little more. You know, what do you think about towns like that? That it's like Wickenburg or anywhere Buckeye. Do you think the town should be more involved in getting that revenue in and helping those guys out a little bit? Or
I think in the future it's going to start getting, because these people that come out here, they're buying land and I mean, I think in the wintertime it's getting to be where people are wanting to move out here. If they live in Montana and they're wanting to come over and rope a little bit, it's getting to that point now. So I feel like Yeah,
Yeah.
I think.
It's kind of crazy. Like you talk about the revenue side of it. Like we own a little restaurant and bar out there on the other side of Buckeye, and it has like 10 RV spots. And the people that come, they pay for the whole year, just because they don't want to lose their RV spot when they come back. You know, and it's just little funny things like that that increase revenue in a town, or increase taxes. They should look at some of this as, hey, this is a big deal.
Yeah, I know a guy that he has like 3-horse trailers and bumper pulls. He has like 5 of them, and he rents them out. People pull up with those big old bloomers, and they need a trailer to go around town. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a good little side hustle, so we
Yeah.
call it. Me and Brandon like those kind of things.
Well, and I think when you first asked about how Arizona's going to do it, I think you were talking more about like ropers in general, but the kids like Michael Camelot, who the economic opportunities that they're going to have in team roping that you didn't have because of what Tyos has created around Wickenburg. I'm not giving Tyos credit for Michael Camelot, but for situations like what the World Series and the USTRC has done around Arizona and all those small jackpots, little Mike can make a living roping right now, whereas it wasn't that way 10 years ago. So.
Yeah, or a kid, maybe in another state up north or Midwest or something, he doesn't have those opportunities. And it's because of guys like him. And again, I don't want to give all the credit to Ty, but I mean, he's the driving force behind it.
Like, I mean, we all watched Yellowstone, but like, I did a roping lesson with some people from Vermont, and their boy wants to rope, loves it. They're thinking about moving out here to Arizona just for that simple reason, because he can't rope in Vermont. You know what I mean? There's not very many ropers. He wants to take it serious. So, what better way to take it serious? And I tell people, like, if you want to really see where your roping's at, you need to come to Arizona, in the wintertime when it's going on, or you need to go to Texas whenever they're rodeoing and jackpotting out there, and you'll get a really good idea where your roping's at. You can come from anywhere, if you're from Colorado or Montana or wherever, and you want to feel like you rope you're one of the best ropers, you can go to any one of them spots in the prime of it, and you can see exactly how good you are.
And that's in any level here, the 8s all the way up. It's all the levels is that the same way. So.
Yeah.
What do you think's the biggest number roping, like as far as entries, like the 8s, the 9s, the 10s?
I did do a story because I think that 8 overtook the 9 as the number 1 most entered division across all of the global handicaps ropings. But I can't. Don't quote me. I mean, I guess you're quoting me on that. I'm quoting myself on that.
Yeah,
on
you
the
actually
podcast.
quoted yourself.
Yeah, I quoted myself on that. So sorry, Connie and Jenny, if I messed that one up. But I'm pretty sure that we ran that story maybe 6 months ago. That the 8 is now the biggest, and it's crazy how we. My husband flags for Blake Nelson, who he comes down here and ropes in the winter, but he's one of Ty's buddies. He puts on a little jackpot right down the road from us in Colorado in the summer. And those 8s, the 7 and the 8 that go all night long over there, and the people,
The marathons.
oh my gosh, and like the people that'll come to watch these ropings, like they back their trucks. It is a festival on a Wednesday night to watch, and the hooping and hollering
And they're there for the long haul.
oh man, they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
What did Jason won one, right, in Vegas one time?
Yeah, he won the 12
Oh,
in
he won the
2016 or 17. 350,000.
350,000.
Jason.
Williams. He won the number 12 with Robert Reynoso.
Yeah, I remember that. Boy, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
New saddles for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't him and Glenn both go buy new saddles?
Oh, yeah. Those ice chests were full, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, they had a good time.